Just waiting for people to join. I'll message Eva because she usually has good questions. Okay, well, I'm just going to bring Seth through and then wait for some questions. Hello. There's no questions so far, so I'm just going to talk. When you are trying to manifest something, it is not coming. The best way is to stop asking so much because you just end up pushing it away. But instead, write a list of things that you appreciate, because when you're in a mode of appreciation, you're in a better place to receive. So if you've been longing and longing for a new position in a company, you want a promotion, or you're trying to sell an item on Kijiji, or you're trying to manifest a new vehicle, and all the vehicles that you see you don't like, or they're too expensive, or they're too many kilometers, well, just take a step back. Instead of focusing on this thing to manifest, just go appreciate everything in your day. Point out things that you like, say thank you to people, and just write a list of stuff that you appreciate. And that's when you'll be in a better place to receive. So Rocky had a question about how to get to your best possible weight. And traditionally, people make you believe you have to eat healthy, you have to exercise. But none of that works unless you're in the right frame of mind. So exercise when you're inspired to, when it feels good. If you are eating out of boredom, you'll recognize it, so you can stop doing that. If you are looking at food as the enemy, it's not going to work out well for you. But if you look at food as nourishment, as something that you need, as if I'm craving it, I must need it, then it's going to be good for your body. If you look at a cookie and think, it's so delicious, it has to be good for me, it will start benefiting your body the same way that a carrot will, that a salad will. It's all healthy.
Hello.
As per usual. So we have a question. I'll talk about health again later. Xenia, this is my third time talking to you. Still haven't been able to get the job. I'm trying to keep positive, but it's just not happening. There's some resistance still. But instead of focusing on the job, because like with what I was saying, we're trying to manifest a promotion, a new vehicle, something selling, you focus so much on it and it's not happening, you start to get down about it, and then you actually put up like a wall and you start resisting. So instead, go about appreciating everything in the day, write a gratitude list. If the job pops in your head, think about how cool it would be to work at that company, to have that position, and just be lighter about it, and just, instead of trying to manifest it, get more into the mode of appreciation and just feeling good, so that you're not resisting anything, and then good things can flow into your experience.
That was the question you just...
Yes.
What, can I just jump in, I guess?
Yes.
Wouldn't it be beneficial for her to, whether it's, if she knows which job she wants, I didn't hear the question, I missed part of it, but if she was to write down the address of the place that she wants to work?
Yeah, like before I told her, what is a day like at that job? What does it feel like when they call you and give you the offer? How do you get to work? What do you do at work? Where do you go for lunch? What time do you get home? You know, to visualize all of it. But what they're saying is they're just not gotten it. So they're like resisting at this point. But just saying, I've noted it down and written down the visiting card. It is in my wallet.
Is there a process you can give her to, not just for getting the job, but for getting whatever it is in her experience that she would like? Like, or I guess for everybody that's...
I am where I am, and that's okay. Everything comes in time. But time is a made-up thing, so I can relax. This down. I am where I am, and that's okay. Everything comes in time, and time is a made-up thing. So I can relax and be easy and simply allow into my experience. And continuing to meditate will help.
And what do you recommend for meditating?
Lying down. 15 minutes. You can use a guided meditation or just like music with no lyrics for 10-15 minutes.
Okay. What would you recommend for somebody that is new to this material, I guess? Like,
Book writing.
Yeah, obviously. But little tidbit, I guess. Like, what is a good way of looking at, if you're introduced to the law of attraction or Abraham or the Seth material, or
your time here is limited, so start reading about this stuff soon, and know that you're not here forever. You go off to non-physical later, and then you're with everybody else who you came here with and from previous lives and all sorts of people that you reconnect with. So just have fun while you're here now, and write down your goals. If you don't like the word goals, write down your list of intentions and achieve them, and recognize when you do achieve them, and start doing processes to manifest, doing little things like deciding that you want to see a certain object the next day, and then just releasing that and going about your day. And when you do see that, recognize how cool it was that it worked and get bigger and bigger with it. And then instead of just seeing things, manifest things into experience, like I want to meet an old friend, or I want to get money out of the blue, just anything. And just keep creating in your experience.
What could you recommend for somebody that's going through hard times? Whether it be...
Dreams are really important. Oh, I should write these questions down.
Sure.
What processes for newcomers? What for people going through hard times? Okay, so in dreams, you might get visited by someone. Like, Randy's had visits from friends, parents who've passed on, from random people she doesn't really know, but if she's known before. Her grandma, her aunt, like all sorts of people, and it's not made up. It's these people trying to contact you, and usually they'll do it right around the time of their death, their transition. That's usually when it's strongest because they're suddenly going, so they're trying to contact everyone right away, or a couple days afterwards. You sometimes, like, women or men who've just lost a husband or wife will wake up, like, startled because they felt someone in bed next to them, and they'll look and they'll just be shocked that they're not there because it felt so real. Well, it was real. They were there. You know, not their physical body, but their being was in the bed to try and bring comfort. And, you know, all of this stuff is real, so you don't have to just brush it off. You can recognize that it's real and comforting and acknowledge it, and you can ask for more of it. And, you know, after someone goes on, it takes a while for them to be able to figure out how to contact. So sometimes they'll use somebody else, like if both your grandparents have gone on, then, and your grandma was second, then maybe your grandma uses your grandpa, or like an aunt or a friend or a sibling or even a pet, or, you know, whatever. And kids especially will see pets or people who have transitioned, and they'll say hi, and if they're, you know, it's not something weird in their family, they might casually mention it to their parents or sister or brother. And, you know, all of these dreams are valid. And at some point when you transition, they'll greet you again, and you might not recognize them because often they look different because they look how they want to be seen. So if someone lived to 90, when you see them, they might look like they're 30 or 40, and they're glowing, their natural hair is there, they're a healthy weight, instead of, you know, an older looking, white hair, old person. So everybody looks their best when you're greeted by them again.
Okay, that's very good.
Yeah, you don't have to do any processes. Usually when you're very upset, it doesn't work, but you can try meditating. You can try just going outside, just being in nature, you know, having ice cream, drinking hot coffee, calling a friend, watching comedy, cuddling with your cat or your dog, and just going about until you start to feel better again. And you can even do, won't it be nice when I feel better? Won't it be nice when I feel like doing this? When I feel like doing that? Won't it be nice when this is all a bit easier for me?
There's no more questions coming.
No.
Okay. What would
Zenia says that yes, this feels lighter for me.
Good. What would you recommend for someone? Most people have it. Most people have something that just seems out of their grasp, and they want it so bad. You'll hear people say, "Oh, if I could just get this, I won't ask for anything ever again. If this would just come true, if I could just win the lottery or what have you." What would you tell people that how do they best go about getting that thing that just seems just out of reach?
Well, if you're starting to resist it, then, stepping back and just trying to appreciate instead. If you have done lots of processes, just relax about it. Just give it a few days, then go back to it. Start acting as if you do have that thing. So if it's a car or a truck, start calculating, when am I going to need an oil change? How much in gas am I going to use a month? Which gas stations am I going to go to? Now that I have a vehicle, where am I going to drive to? Am I going to pick people up? Am I going to let other people use it? Maybe you want to buy new floor mats, and maybe there's DVDs on the back seats, so do you let DVDs in the vehicle? Do you have a little vacuum to clean your vehicle? Just start acting as if you have it. And, when do you make payments each month? Mark them on your calendar. And, tell people, oh, there's this great vehicle that I made a great deal on and I'm going to have it soon. Because then they get excited and they start to put energy towards it too. If it's something like a new job, tell people about the job, how cool it sounds, and then get more people excited about it so that they're putting their energy, without really knowing it, towards what you're trying to manifest as well.
So would you recommend people lie about?
Not lie, because you don't have to say, I have a new truck. You can say, I'm getting a new truck soon. I have a new vehicle coming to me soon. There's this new position I feel really good about, and I'm pretty sure I've got it.
Okay. Well, just something I wanted you to clarify on was, if something feels...
Oh, like you feel like you can't get it.
Out of reach.
Then it's not gonna... You have to clear the gap, so...
Can we just back up a little bit? And can you just explain how you get stuff? Like, what is the process to getting something that you want? Whether it be wellness, if you're sick, if you're poor and you want money, or if you want to manifest a house or a truck, or how do we get this stuff?
Well, there's Esther's ask, believe, receive. So first you have to figure out, you have to come across something that you want, and then you have to ask for it. So there has to be a desire for this thing or experience.
So just so that we're clear with everybody, do you physically have to ask?
No.
Do you have to say in words? Do you have to? How do you ask? Yeah, I want you to just sort of break it down so that it's
in your mind. Decide, I want this thing or experience. Then you have to eagerly anticipate it as you let it go to the universe. So you release it to the universe, and then you wait in eager and excited anticipation. At this point, you can think about it and be excited about it. So you can play the game, wouldn't it be nice? You can print off a picture of it that has no price tags and carry it with you, put it on your wall, look at it and appreciate it. You can visualize it. You can close your eyes and, act like you're driving. How does it feel? You can ask before you go to bed to see it in your dreams, for it to come into experience sooner by working in your dreams. And then you just have to trust that it will be yours, because if you can see it in your hand, you can hold it in your hand. And then just let the universe figure out all the details, because they don't matter to you, and then it will come to you. If you watch The Secret, the girl sees the necklace on the shop window that she really wants, and then she ends up getting it as a gift. There's the kid who really wants this. It was a toy vehicle or a bike, and he pictures himself driving it and gets it as a gift from a grandparent. And there's this guy who wants a vehicle, so he's driving it and he's doing the foot pedals, and then he gets a new vehicle. So you just have to visualize actually having it, because you can't have something you don't think about. So if you want a new surfboard, but you don't think about going to Tofino or going to California or San Diego or actually surfing or, the ocean or being in the waves, and you don't visualize any of it, you're not going to get it very quickly. But if you see yourself surfing on waves and you're watching surfing videos and you're thinking how cool that looks and how fun that would be, then you're lining up with it. So if there's something that seems out of your reach, you're never going to get it. But just know that the universe always bridges the gaps. So draw it. Draw you. Draw the universe however you want, Draw like a little magician or a little wizard. Draw some shooting stars and planets or a rainbow, like whatever. Just whatever that represents the universe for you. And then next to the other side of the universe, draw the thing that you want. And then let it go. Go burn it or rip it up and throw it out. Then draw a new picture with the universe above, and then you with that thing. So if it's a surfboard, you surfing on a wave on that board. And then the universe kind of, overseeing a job well done. And then focus on that and have that put up somewhere so that you can see it's not out of reach. You have it already.
What do you use as your gauge in going in the right direction?
Your emotions. If it feels good, do it. If it doesn't, stop. If it feels good but you can feel that it's hurting someone, well, maybe step back and reevaluate if there's a better way to go about it. But it's how you feel. So if it feels good visualizing this thing, then you're in the right place. If it feels bad, like you don't deserve it or it's too expensive, there's no way I could have that, then you've got to take a step back and maybe try manifesting something else first. Or clearing some things up first.
Okay. And how do you clear these things up?
Well, it depends what it is, but you could burn sage around your room.
Okay.
You could meditate, do some processes, figure out where you are on the emotional scale, and then work towards moving up. You know, maybe people you're hanging around with aren't the best influences at the moment, so you can sift through them and just surround yourself with positive people.
Okay.
Xenia. So this job hunting isn't feeling good. Applying thinking it's getting me more desperate. Then pause. Don't consider it job hunting because it makes it sound like, I don't know, a bit more difficult than it is. Think of it as lining up with the job that you already seek. And know that whatever you're seeking is seeking you in return. So if there's a job that you want and are qualified for and know that you would be really good at, then know that whoever is, doing the hiring is also looking for a great candidate. So they're looking for you, you're looking for them. And you've just got to let it line up. So just know that, somebody wants me, somebody's looking for me. I can relax. I don't have to look so hard because somebody else is also putting in this work and this effort and they want me in return. Something. How would one FFXIV fixive? How would one connect to their inner being, spirit guides, etc., or the process of getting there, or like knowing you have, if that makes any sense? So, try automatic writing. Meditate, and then do automatic writing. The easiest way is to just go look in the mirror, go look at your eyes, and then look in towards the pupil, and you'll see your reflection, and you'll feel a big grin, because while you're looking at your reflection, what you're actually looking at is your inner being, and your inner being recognized gets excited. Do some automatic writing. Randy has inner goddesses. They write, Randy's inner goddesses, and then they write her some messages. And it's always really light and really fun, so if you want it to be really easy, just see it going that way. If you want it to be a bit more structured, ask for it to be, very professional or whatever it is that you want. And just have fun with it. So, and I mean, it's always easier to connect with things when you're in nature. So maybe go for a walk outside for half an hour and then sit down and try and do some automatic writing. And if it's too difficult, do some reading up on it and how other people do it. Start, with a pen that you like, with a brand new notebook, and just don't really have much for expectations, just allow it to happen, and then it'll be easy. Romeo, will I forget everything that I've learned in this life and start over with a new body once I reincarnate? When you transition, you will have like a plethora of information come rushing in at you. You'll suddenly remember all sorts of things, different languages, get shots of different things, of different lives, and it's pretty overwhelming at first. And then you can kind of work through it and separate it, and then you'll make the decision at some point to, yes, come into a new life. And part of the agreement on coming in is that you do forget most of what you learned. But the good thing is, as a kid, you're still with Source, you still know everything. It's just a matter of whether or not that's encouraged, or you come into a life where it's forgotten and then some remember it later and some don't. So if you seek a life where you don't ever forget, you can intend to have that kind of experience. You can come in, you can, be born with all this information, have it with you, and then live in a place where parents encourage it, where it's taught in schools, and where it stays with you, so that you get to just manifest all throughout your life. You don't have to come across the secret or come across Esther's material and then be re-educated. You just get to keep it with you. Because it's always in the back of your mind. Your guides are always there. They've always got the information. They always lead you to where you need to go and put you in touch with people who are going to help you. But it's just a matter of whether or not you're able to listen. And so it's something that you can pick a life where you don't have to forget any of this. It stays with you. Questions?
What's that?
Questions?
Yes, always. What?
You talked to Jay Hicks today.
Yes, we did. Yes. Is there anything that you can give somebody that wanted to channel? Like somebody that hasn't channeled yet but would like to try it, or or is very interested and would like to do it?
Take our course.
Oh, there you
go. Well, when you meditate, because that's how it started for Randy, just invite a positive, happy spirit to come in and connect with you. And you can ask for physical signs. You can ask them to, lift your hand, or have like your cheeks tingle, or you can have a piece, like a notepad and a pen, and ask them to write a message. That's the easiest way to start, is just inviting someone in when you're meditating, when you're relaxed. Or if you're in the bathtub and you're meditating, you're very relaxed, you can just ask someone to lightly come through, and that would be the best way.
Very good.
You can watch other channelers and, watch how they just kind of close their eyes and they just intend it and allow it in, and then the spirit's there, and then when they're done, they just send them away. So it's not as complicated as people think. It's just whether you're allowing it or not, whether you're open.
Where is Randy while you're...
It's like if you're wearing a costume at Halloween, you're underneath, but there's something over top. So it's like she's just behind. Like, it's just like you're watching from behind someone.
Okay. She's aware of...
Like, Jane Roberts would do astral projections and she'd go off and do her own thing. But, like, Esther is there, Randy's there. So at any point she can be like, go away now. And just take the wheel again.
Okay. Might have some questions coming in.
Romeo, is it possible for us humans to physically teleport? And if so, can you point me in the right direction of how to go about doing it? Well, you call it teleporting, but it's astral projection, so you can read up on that. It's kind of like when you meditate and then you start to feel yourself like floating or hovering a bit. If you allow it and you get better and better and stronger at it, you can have yourself go off somewhere. You know, there's reports of people who went to bed and then they wake up and they're having a discussion with someone and they're talking about a party they were at last night and they're like, I was there. And they're like, no, you weren't. And you're like, yeah, I was. Well, maybe you did go there, except it was just the spiritual you, not the physical you. So you projected yourself to that place. But I would, if you're curious about it, ask before you go to bed in your dreams to practice it and to remember it and to read up on it and about other people's experiences with it. And like, you can go all over the place. You can travel the world for free. So I would read about other people doing it, and then, you know, maybe start small, like you want to go down the street, or you want to go to the next city over, somewhere like close, because close always makes it seem easier, and then go from there.
With your explanation, did the person have to? Obviously, what you want to do, like you were talking about astral projections, and you want to be fairly specific in your asking, wouldn't you? Like whether you want to be conscious while it's going on, or because you can do all that stuff and then wake up and not remember.
I said I remember.
Oh, sorry. Ah, gotcha. Very good.
Yeah. Read about other people's experiences, because you might find that you're asking about it now, but perhaps you've already been places and you just don't remember it. So if you travel somewhere new, like let's say you go to South Africa and things look really familiar, especially a certain neighborhood, well, maybe you had a past life there, or maybe you've already traveled there before in your dreams or through astral projection. And so you'll find that when you discover these things, you've already done them before, and it's just your inner guides have helped you to come to it so that you can learn about it more. Romeo, if time is linear in the astral plane, then wouldn't that mean that our loved ones who have transitioned would meet everyone they believe they're leaving behind the instant they cross over? Time is not linear. With this experience, when you cross over, you won't see, like, the kids that you are still alive here, because from non-physical, you will still be able to see them and to contact them. So it is linear in that sense. You all are reunited as you transition. But in non-physical, you can go to different planes where you are all still in the same experience. Yeah, you're usually just greeted by people who've already gone before you, so grandparents, pets, friends, old friends who you've forgotten about. Yeah.
Can you explain to us a little bit better of how time works?
Well, like all time is now means that someone living in the 1920s and 2020 and 2000 and 1902 are all occurring at the same time. And they don't affect each other. They're like separate little air pockets within time. So instead of having a timeline, you more have like 30 timelines that are all next to each other, occurring at the same time, even though they're all completely different, and maybe the same person lives in 5 of them. And there's a couple good movies that show that time is kind of this, like Cloud Atlas. You have multiple lives at once, and you can cross over between them. And you know, The Matrix is a really good movie. It doesn't so much show time, but it shows kind of that this is a made-up place. And there's a new one out about alien life forms. And they make this connection with these aliens. I don't want to give away too much in case someone wants to watch it, but it's basically that they communicate with these aliens. These aliens have this advanced language, so they're learning this language so that they can communicate. The aliens then tell them that in so many 100 years, they need them to help them, so they've taught them this language so they can communicate then, when it's more imperative. And then this woman is having all these flashbacks, which are actually her seeing into the future, because it's quite confusing, because you think she's coming as a widow who's lost a child, but really she's just living alone, and she's having all these flash forwards of her life, which you think are flashbacks. And then you realize that this guy she meets as she's trying to communicate with these aliens is her future husband. She's talking to her future daughter. Her daughter has predicted this already because she's drawn pictures with animals, including one of the aliens. So it jumps back all over the place, and that's more how time is. It's not start to finish. It's more like a zigzag and a circle back and a loop, and it can go really fast or it can go really slow. There's multiple universes, some of them cross over, and it's more like a big maze rather than just a straight line.
What is the point in going back to, say, the caveman days or previous to this planet, whatever was here before? Like, what do you learn when you do that?
It's more curiosity of like, oh, I want to live with dinosaurs, or saber-toothed tigers, or woolly mammoths, or I want to live a simple life. I want to see the earth before any buildings were put up. I want to have a very basic, just survival life. It would be that experience, but mostly, like, there's not as many humans back then, because mostly people come for the experience of being the mammoth or the dinosaur.
Okay. And what would people gain from going, say, 500,000 years into the future from today's date? Like,
well, you're living a more advanced life. You're living that life where you don't forget, and it's just more and more it's manifesting. It's just more progress, more advancement, more collective thinking, less like, laborers, more using machines and knowledge to create things.
Okay.
So in other words, everything is happening at the same time. Romeo. Yes. You just can't see it all now because it would be too confusing, but in another session we were talking to a woman and we used the example of like time splits off into different planes based on, you know, big events. So there's a world that you're living in right now where Trump won. In another one, Hillary won. And in another one, nobody won. Obama stayed in until they figured it out. And when you're at an advanced level, you will be able to live all three lives and to jump back and forth between them. But for now, it's too confusing. And so you only live the one life at this time. But once you transition, you can tap into those other lives and see kind of what happened. But yes, there's thousands and thousands of planes of existence all happening at the same time. Okay, Fixva. So I've been having these dreams and thought of writing a book, and almost all things I've been attracting people around me are just things about books or writing, or just crazy things related to books, but I don't have an idea what this means or how to go about it. Like, do I get more of an understanding of this? I've tried asking, but these dreams have been very vague. But I find it weird because I've thought of writing a book, so is this a sign or my inner being? If you're getting lots and lots of signs and you know they're signs, you're feeling inspired to write, you should just start writing. Just keep going with it. Just, even if you don't intend to publish it, just write it to get it out. Randy wrote like a 200-page book after work over the course of a couple weeks because it just kept coming out and it was just nice to write. So you're in the right place at the right time always, and you're going to be put in touch with a publisher, someone who can help you try to get it out there. And you know, do research into it if that's what you want to do. Figure out, how do you get published? How do you get a manuscript written? How do you get an agent? Do you want to self-publish? Do you want an ebook? Do you want a printed book? And see all your options and know that, you know, thousands and thousands of people have written books before you, and some of them do really well, some of them don't, but who cares? Because if you publish it, well then you've done more than most have with their writing. So if it's something you enjoy doing and want to do, you should go for it. If you're having trouble seeing it clearly in your dreams, instead try to do automatic writing about it. You know, ask, like, inner being, what is the next step? Help me see the next step. And try it that way.
If somebody has a question and doesn't know how to word it properly, like, can you, I guess, get inside their head and see what they're trying to ask?
Yes.
Okay. Because Taylor has a question, but she doesn't know how to word it. She doesn't know how to ask it, and she wants Seth to get into her head, and
she wants to know if her mom's watching or not. She wants to know how to break the news. Surprise!
Yeah.
Yes, it will all work out. Go for it, unless you want to be the 40-year-old virgin who lives in their mother's basement. Also, Scott will give you the boot eventually, and he doesn't want to have to do that. Also, I have no idea what this book would be about or why. I just see myself being a writer, I guess. We'll just start writing then. Just start whatever starts coming through the pen, just write it down. And even if you throw it out, that's all the process of writing. It's called a draft. First draft, second draft, third draft, and just the more you do it, the clearer it'll be and the easier it'll be. Betty, where's my friend's dog collar? Can you type it out? I can't hear it. The dog that they lost. Do you mean where's the collar or where's the dog? Oh, you mean that dog that transitioned. They're wanting to recover the collar, I'm guessing. You could get Dareston to douse for it. If you go to their property, drive out with Dareston and get him to douse. And it's a couple kilometers from their house under a tree. I don't think I would go looking for it yet, though, because the body hasn't totally decomposed. So you'd be making your kid go look for a dead dog. So I would wait a bit before you... Maybe when it warms up a bit. And then go look. Romeo, do extraterrestrial spaceships contain breathing apparatuses, or can some species breathe in space? So like fish, how fish can breathe underwater but they can't breathe on land. Yes, there are some species who can breathe without air, like their body just converts what is around them to something that they can breathe and use. And some spaceships, like the ones that we have air in them. But yes, there are species who do not need air per se. Okay, Brenda, so still not understanding how a soul expansion can help the universe expand. Why does it matter that we learn lessons? You're always learning, you're always, even though you've left school however many years ago, you're always learning. It would be pretty boring if you just went about your day and had no more realizations. So as you understand more and more about the universe and how to manifest and get what you want, you rub this off onto other people, and it's like a ripple effect. And once everybody realizes that there's no pot, there's no, limit to things that you can attract, there's no amount that once it's reached, there's no more, then people will be easier about manifesting things. This won't be this secret. This will be widespread information so that everybody can get what they want out of life. Positive is always stronger than negative, so if you have 5 people who are determined to have a really great president who gets things done and fixes the economy and makes life great socially, well, then they're going to influence over the 20 people who hate the president. Why is he in charge? He doesn't know what he's doing. Because they're not thinking about ideas in the same way as the 5 positive people who are looking for change, who are excited, who are inspired, who are uplifted. There's much more energy and momentum behind that. So if you've got people all over the world who are wanting the best things out of life for everybody, it just creates this ripple that spreads to everybody.
I did have questions, but I can't seem to think of them.
Romeo, can you die more than once in the other dimensions of reality? Well, in terms of you living different existences, so you have this personality, this life, but it could have broken off into 100 different ones based on, big turning points in your life. So you're gonna die all 100 times. Ashton said hi. But you don't, unless you're dying, you're resuscitated and then you die again. You don't really die twice. You just have your life, your death transition, then your non-physical. So it is just one per life cycle. But when those multiple planes, there's all those different versions of you that all will have to die at some point.
Just the physical death, not...
Yeah.
Not...
No death, just the transition point.
Okay.
You're stuck forever. Okay, well, this will be the last question. Betty, Abraham, what do you think of the new shop? I don't know who Abraham is. And I don't know what he thinks. But Seth says it's a good spot.
Does it matter what you think?
No, but Betty likes recognition. Betty, will I get my new vehicle? Do you want a new vehicle? Print off a picture of it without any price tags and put it in your wallet. Put it on your wall and intend it. And visualize yourself driving it. How does it feel? How does it feel to get rid of the old one and move up? And get into the feeling mode of it. Romeo, how would you comfort a grieving mother who has had her husband murdered right in front of her eyes? My father was murdered last year. It's been hard. Well, if she understands law of attraction, then you can kind of explain to her about, non-physical and, at the point of death, you're pulled out by your guides, and it's kind of just like a shadow of you. It's just your body, really, that's left. So that you don't feel this extreme pain. You're already out. And then you can let her know, he's in non-physical, he's good, he's healthy, he's happy, and that he's around. And, people will get different clues about their loved ones being around. So maybe there's a joke between the two of you that you always found dimes around the house. So now you're finding dimes everywhere. Well, it's a sign from him showing you that he's there. Maybe you always see, rainbows or ducks because that's something that you both enjoyed. So that's a sign from him. And, it's the absence of him is temporary, and one day he will greet her when she transitions and goes non-physical, and they'll be reunited. So he's not lost forever. It's just a temporary absence. And just get her, doing things that she enjoys to try and raise her emotions and her vibration. So go for walks, go shopping, go get coffee, go get ice cream, visit with other family, all sorts of stuff.
Was that his intended journey?
Yes.
Like, is that an experience?
But I mean, that's not gonna...
Yeah.
I wouldn't tell your mother, like, oh, he came here to be murdered. But it was something that he wanted to experience because he knew he could experience it in a safe way. You know, I don't think he really meant for her to necessarily witness it, but that was something that she did. So, you know, like, while you're here, it's temporary, and then you're reunited at another point. So, you know, just make sure she knows that she has to take advantage of the time she has while she's here, because it's only a short while, and that she'll be with him again sooner than she thinks.
And that's pretty much your time. Did you want me to ask another question?
Tay-Tay, pack your bags. Get your mom a box of tissues.
Can you explain to us a little bit about death? Like, there's been a couple of questions tonight on it, and can you just sort of explain it from your point of view? Like,
well, some people don't even know that they've died. So, you know, some people will collapse and see the white light. Some people will go to bed, wake up, start making coffee, go about their day, and then realize that, like, they're see-through. Like, something's off. They're talking to people, but they're not acknowledging them. Or some people will be in a bed, and then they feel themselves floating up. So it's different for everyone, but...
What gives everybody a unique experience? Why do people have different experiences? Why isn't it all the same? Like, what makes it? What gives them a unique experience?
Because so it's just where you are at, like, vibrationally. People have a preferred way of death, like the transition part, and it's, you know, it can be an influence of what your parents taught you. So you see the white light, and it's just based on your beliefs and where you're at, but it all leads you to the same place. And so you have this transition moment, and then you end up in non-physical. And when Rocky first explained this to Randy, she thought non-physical meant literally there's nothing physical, you're just floating blobs of mass. Really threw off. But no, you're not just floating jellies. You're... It's like now, except right now you're physical, you go to non-physical, so things, you know, you don't experience them the same way, you don't really feel things the same way, but everything looks the same. And you're greeted by whoever, so your grandparents, your old horse, your old dog, you know, your little committee, your welcoming team. And it's much quicker than people make out. They always say birth is way more shocking than death is, because death is very easy. It's just the next logical step. Like your guides, your inner self has just, you know, knows that it's time, and then it's very quick and easy. It's not this big scary thing that it's made out to be. It's like a gentle passing.
Okay.
And you usually, you know it's coming.
And obviously there's no escaping it for
No.
physical man. You kind of signed up for this when you come into the physical.
Have you had... Okay, there's a couple more. Are there seasons in the non-physical realm? Does weather affect spirits? Non-physical is kind of what you want it to be, so Rocky has an uncle who's a big hunter, and he's in a land where it's, you know, fall or winter, and there's huge game, and he's usually hunting, and then he goes back to his cabin. And
he's obviously transitioned, I take it.
Yes.
Okay.
But for someone else, maybe they enjoy the beach, so they're at a beach house and it's always warm. It's whatever you want it to be, so there aren't necessarily seasons, but it's just the weather that you want is what will be created. Weather doesn't really affect spirits. Like, in non-physical, everything feels good. You're always good, so if it's raining, you feel good. If it's sunny, you feel good. But whatever weather it is that you desire, that's what you will have. Have you had people who have emerged back to non-physical seek you out for advice, Seth? Paparazzi. Sometimes, but not as often as you think. Like, because they're now a non-physical, they're in touch more with their inner self and with all of their guides. So any questions they have, they can ask their guides. Some people think, oh, I want to hear it specifically from Abraham or Seth. So they try and seek you out. But it's always from a good place. And, you know, we can communicate. But often they don't need us anymore. They have, you know, all of the knowledge from people around them. So they don't need us.
Oh, wait, you keep mentioning guides. So when you transition, your guides are with you still? So when you're in the non-physical, you've always got guides. Does Seth have guides?
Mm-hmm.
You do? You don't want to talk about it?
Yeah, but I don't need guides as much as you do.
Little Seth, a little sensitive.
Like, everybody has guides, but when you're at the Earth experience, they're more prominent, they're more needed. When you advance more and more and more, they're just kind of like a resource you can tap into if you needed to.
Okay. Very good.
Okay, last question. I've been working on a website. Should I try and code it myself or should I save up and pay to have it done by professionals? You could start out yourself now just to start it, to get it moving. And then once you can afford it, have it upgraded and upgraded and upgraded. Because it's better to have something out there than to have nothing while you wait until you can afford it. So I would just start, you know, there's lots of hosting websites where you just punch in a couple things and it's already got like the format and the layout done for you. So you could do something like that in the meantime and then get it better and better as you go.
Perfect.
Okay, well, before anyone else rolls in, till next week, thank you for the questions. Romeo, yours were especially good. And we will see you same time next week. Bye.